How's it going? Hello there. Who are we? Hello everybody. Flying Earth, Pied Piper, Sudale Catchy, Stephen Parker, Alfredo Barragan, Highway Child, Die Level Awakening, how you doing? Serenelli and Nicholas. Rhythm with that, Mr. Teddy Bear, Spot On Level, Celtic 67, how you doing? Sandy, Juan Carlos, Corey Murphy, West Coast Wisdom, how you doing? Nicholas, Anthony Bingham, Travelling Commando, Jack Stander, Andy W, Tommy Robles, World Without Curve, Stuart Lundy, how you doing? Tracy Storier, hello. Anton LeVay, how you doing? Corey Murphy, Ute, Paul Jones, BM, JD, Uppercut, Andy Bordwick, how you doing, mate? Stephen Parker, Steve HV, how you do? One Man, He's Detector, Good Times for All, how you doing? Maggie M, hello. Drew Scott, Eduardo, Spot On Level. No, it's not the sun, you see. No, we're back to solid grey blankets. For as far as the weather forecast is predicting, BBC Weather Forecast can predict cloudy skies, totally overcast skies, right up until the 10th of July, where on the 10th of July it's going to rain. How the fuck they work that shit out, I don't know. Looks as if we're just back to normal. Plus the kids have stopped school, so I mean, that's it, they're fucked. Think they get the afternoon of the Friday with some sun and that's their fucking summer holidays. Over and done. First month of summer. I highly doubt we're going to see anything like the 3 days we've just had previous. I'll be very surprised. But I'll be documenting it. And I'll probably shout about it again. So, usual quick intro. It's an open platform this evening. Just a quick intro for anybody that comes across this. This is an investigation into what we would term as science and scientific inquiry. Science, first and foremost, does not belong to a group or an institution. It's a method for you and I to understand the objective reality that we share, how we come to an understanding of what is objectively true is that we look for stuff, we find what we can find, and then we can make assertions about what it is we're finding, then we can share that with each other, and then we can establish what is objectively true. But it must be in that form. It must have practicality to it. It must be substance-based. There has to be a separation of visible phenomena and tangible phenomena. They are two separate geometries. How you see the world and how the world actually is are two totally different things. So, you know, optical, visible phenomena is not enough. People are making assertions based on things that they see, particularly about luminaries that they have never been to. They cannot move around in 3 dimensions. They are not tangible. Okay? They are optical, visible phenomena. So when we're making assertions and claims about the real world, we have to practically demonstrate. Now it comes down to that simplicity, you know, understanding what science actually is, understanding that you're the scientist, you have the same sense perceptions as everybody else. So that's what it comes down to. And again, we have to practically demonstrate. So you also have to understand that there's subdivisions of science. The cult that we've been born into, this culture, this agenda, if you like, tries to dominate and assert what is science. And that's what you hear them shouting continually. Science this and science that, and science says so, so therefore science. Whatever. You have to understand the subdivisions of science. Mathematics is utilised a lot with the heliocentric globe cult model. The globe model is purely a mathematical concept, is in no way, shape or form a tangible three-dimensional object that can be quantified, measured and proven. Okay? When you understand this and you can pull everything right back instead of running with your association to the culture and the society that you were born into, the education system that you were subjected to, when you suspend your running forwards with that wave and actually tear it back to what is really tangible, what's really provable here, you will start to find and establish that the globe assertion is absolutely ridiculous. The only reason it has managed to achieve what it's achieved and gotten so far is by use of technological advancement, mainly TV screens and computer, graphics and stuff like that. It is an image that's generated, and then it has a mathematical explanation surrounding it. So it's a religious symbol with religious texts that lend support to this image that you've seen on your TV your whole life. Now, we have to remove that. Reality doesn't tell you lies. Human beings tell you lies. Human beings with technology that can hypnotise you, technology that can influence you and sway you, is not to be trusted. What you trust first and foremost is the reality, your direct, immediate experience of everyday life. Know what you see and encounter on a TV screen. So, we can look at the claims and we can break the claims apart from the heliocentric globe cult model, and we can start to ask the questions: does it hold up in a practical fashion? Can the claims and the assertions that it's making be practically demonstrated? And what you find is that it can't. Liquids find a level. Opposing pressure systems require solid separation between them. These are just two of the fundamental, basic, physical, non-physical traits of the substances in our reality that we utilise and apply in everyday practical living. The globe model will try and add linguistics and explanations of why, your experience of reality is wrong and how it all fits this mathematical abstract notion. Language is not required. All you need to do is demonstrate. I can demonstrate to you how liquid behaves. I can demonstrate to you how pressures behave, gas pressures behave. I can demonstrate to you what's required in order to create a gas pressure. I can demonstrate what's required to create a vacuum. And then I can demonstrate the relationship between these two things. The geometric assumption that we apply in pretty much every avenue of life is plane geometric assumption. We use Euclidean plane principles that are applied all across the board. That does not concern itself with curved surfaces. So these things, when you start to look at them, should really be telling you that there's something wrong. Now the problem is that you're probably going to experience some cognitive dissonance, denial, and just like any abused party, they want to run away from it. They don't want to face up to that being the situation. So people will clamber and desperately seek some sort of bias to reaffirm the already existing belief that they had. And that's what you see the majority of people doing. Now, if you're an intellectually honest person and you have no bias, I had no reason to want to believe in the globe heliocentric model. I just assumed it to be true and kind of went along with the flow. But once you start to question it, you start to strip it apart, it then puts you in a position of understanding that, as far as, in the circles that I move in, nobody knows the full dimensions of where we actually are. There is no claims made here about the full dimensions of where we actually are. What I can claim that is demonstrable is that the Earth is demonstrably level. It's a level plane. How far it extends and where it goes and what its confines are, I don't know. I've not been there. There is restricted areas and zones that we have to get over, and that's, you know, there's logistical hurdles there that we have to look at and address in order for us as human beings to explore the boundaries of what we've been told is the Earth. Okay, so there's no claims to particular models here. I'm not interested in models. I want to understand what it actually is. Okay, plastic toys and cartoon images and people's fantasies and assumptions and assertions, they're of no use to us. Real science is about moving forward from each moment in time, breaking apart the substances and understanding the physicality of where you actually are, without any preconceived notions or biases, any narratives running internally, so that what you're finding, you're omitting certain aspects to fit your wee world view. That's no proper science, that's no proper skepticism. Proper skepticism and proper science is standing firmly in the grounds of you do not know, and you have a rational, logical, reasoning mind that is willing to understand and endeavour to find out and further the progress of your understanding. Okay, so what we've seen in our societies, our cultures growing up, is that science has been dominated, right, by religious narratives, agendas, storytelling, corruption, people trying to keep money coming in, different projects, blah, 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 blah. And it all has to fit the overrunning narrative, which is a big bang, a big expansion, without any rhyme or reason to it, just expanded and exploded and cast everything out. All the matter and all the complexity that you see just happened to, you know, come about all by itself purely through chance. And that's the narrative and the story that they're trying to keep running. So anybody involved in the scientific community must fit the storyline. If they don't, they're going to be pushed to the side. Now that should tell you that you're following or you're part of a religious cult. Okay? Now this religious cult's to your detriment. It's to the detriment of you, your loved ones, and the people that are going to come after you, and the people that have already lived, who lived a life of fantasy, delusion, confusion, bewilderment, stress, fear, anxiety, all at the hands of this corrupt nonsense, this religious ideologies, whether it be Big Bang cosmology or godly cosmologies. They're all one and the same thing. They're there to psychologically constrain you, physically constrain you, keep you going round in circles so that you will never wander from this area. As I say, you can continue to walk the path of delusion, or you can start being honest with yourself and start asking the fundamental questions. Again, I'm going to put this to you as I have done so many times before. If you do not know where you are, why you are here, what you're part of, then anything that you're calling a life is your subjective delusion. They are substitutes, trinkets, toys, the shiny, to distract you from the real fundamental questions that you should be asking, and no letting up until these questions are resolved. As I say, you don't know where you are, you don't know what it's about, what game are you playing? So there's so many generations have went by living in fantasy land. It's time for that to end. It's time for us to take back that power, the individual power, your sovereignty. Stand firm. Understand the processes and the workings of your own mind and move forward from there. Eradicate your fallacious reasoning and logic, your attachment to consensus, your attachment to, authorities. Get rid of the whole shebang. You have the same faculty as I have. So does every other human being. If they want to make assertions to you about your objective reality, ask them to practically demonstrate it. No excuses, no corners cut, nobody gets a bye. So, please don't come here with your propaganda, programmed propaganda, your idiotic notions and ideas and fantasies about who people like me are and what the questions are that are being asked. I'm a questioner. I make no assertions unless it's something that I can practically demonstrate. I'm not a fantasist, I'm a realist. And that's what I encourage you to be. Fantasy and all that stuff's great for imagination and artistic purposes. But when we're trying to establish the real world facts, none of that's required. So there's a broad spectrum of what we can discuss and we can talk about. We can talk about consciousness, spirituality, religion, politics if you fucking want. Know that I want to go there because it bores the tits right at me. We can talk about anything. You know, we exist. Every aspect of our existence right now is relevant to the situation we're in. So anything you want to bring to the table, anything you want to put out there, any questions you want to ask of me or whatever, my content, anything, then send an email to the above address and I will send you a link for you to come in and have that discussion. So, anywho. Big Bang created consciousness, aye. These silly people that want to assert that nothing made them. Chance, random mutations acted upon by natural selection. There is no such thing as consciousness. You're just a biological robot and your consciousness is merely an illusion. These people are retards. How can you ever take anything that they say as being sane, rational, reasonable? You cannot. If they're going to assert that they're a bunch of bumbling, bumping particles with no free will, no volition, no consciousness, then how can you ever take anything that they assert to be true or meaningful? It's nonsense. These are the types of stories that disempower the individual, that put you in bewilderment and confusion. When you're in that state, you're going to seek safety in numbers. And from there on in, when you find your safety in numbers, you're going to be very cautious about putting your head above the parapet because you don't want to be rejected by the majority. So the whole structure that we have right now is based on fear. It's driven by fear. And that includes, the world view plays the biggest role in it because that's the casing that holds all the other bullshit in place. So question the fundamental, question the actual reality that you're living in, have a look at it. And then you'll start to see the narratives unfolding and the reason why they are there, that they perpetuate a certain state of mind in you. Okay? Giving away your individuality, giving away your own authority, handing it over to invisible entities that you don't know, who are going to make claims and statements and tell you how to be and how to live your life. And these very same people are telling you that it all happened from a big bang. We need rhyme or reason to it, no intelligence behind it whatsoever. But you have to somehow take them as intelligent. Total nonsense. Sick of these. Atheism, why do they not just term it as, a rejection of man's concepts of the prime mover? You have to be intellectually honest enough to realise that there is a prime mover, there is a base reality to this whole experience. Right? Now, why can these people not just accept that? But see, this is the other problem with this whole narrative that runs in science. As Rupert Sheldrake termed it, the give us one free miracle. Well, that's what they want. They just want the free miracle. Like, just take it from the point that all the matter and all the complexities here and then try and explain things from then on forward. No. Nothing comes from nothing. There had to be intent. There has to be a prime mover, a prime reality behind this whole shebang. So these new age atheists are swept up ideologies by guys like Christopher Hitchens and Richard Dawkins and Sam Harris and all these fucking creepy weirdos that are telling you that you're a bunch of bumbling particles right? But want to assert that they've got some sort of intelligence and an intelligent authority over you, that they somehow understand reality better than you do. They are absolute creepy, weird morons. No intelligence, a serious lack of intelligence. They are lazy bastards. And people that were just mentioned, these new age atheist type guys, they're morons. They think because you can ridicule and laugh at literal interpretations of ancient stories, that somehow gives them the intellectual superior high ground. They're just deluded. Their heads are full of hot air because they lend their attention to fucking dipshits like Dawkins. These people are pushing an agenda. And these wee followers and these wee minions are too stupid to realise that agenda is being driven specifically and deliberately to give human beings a false sense of their reality, to keep them in ignorance and bewilderment. So why not just say, like I say, I reject man's concepts of this prime mover. It's of no interest to me. I'm not in a position to fully understand it while I'm here as part of the effects of the prime mover, which is out with, underlying, within the whole fucking shebang. You're not going to get there. It's the same thing. What do we understand as human beings? We understand complexity, design and information can only emanate from a conscious intent, from a mind that has that capability to intend things to be and to display design within it. It's everywhere. But this narrative will continually try and play it down and come up with all sorts of fantastical mathematical concepts yet again. This language of mathematics seems to have given these dipshits a free run. Again, this is the ignorance of the majority of the populace. No understanding. They championed mathematicians, they championed mathematics as if it was the be-all and end-all. That was all done deliberately, so that was the established bar of authority, so that anything that came from this bar of authority and these celebrity priest types and their gobbledygook wafflings and ramblings about utter shite would be taken as relevant and important and factual. It's fucking no. You just need to bust that wee delusional bubble. Dig in, learn about it, realise it for yourself. Don't listen to me, don't listen to other gurus, or you're just falling into the same trap again. Understand the processes of your own mind. Listen to that internal voice. There is honesty in there. It's you have to try hard to ignore it. Takes a bit of skill and a bit of patience and a bit of dig to continually needle at it, to eradicate all the noise and all the bullshit that's running in there. So being in a hypnotic trance, you're being told you're eating a fucking apple when really you're eating a potato, raw. And that sums up this whole shebang. Your life's a lovely apple. Really, it's no. It's a bag of fucking sour, degrading potatoes. So anyway, it's enough from me. If you would like to go further into any of these avenues that we have touched upon, please send me an email. Hudson Chalk. Hey Dale, I would like to join your chat about the flat earth. Would also appreciate a shout out. Look forward to hearing from you. Cheers. Hudson Chalk, there's a shout out. I'm going to set up a hangout. Bear with me. There you go, Hudson Chalk. Sent. Well, that's it. The unmoved prime mover. When you reason with it, and you know, for me, there's no way to escape it. We're existing in three-dimensional space right now. Does that end? If it does end, where does it go? The prime reality for me has to be eternal. Always has been, always will be. This is just a temporary aspect or an experience of temporary living or being within an eternal realm. You can't get an ending. That's why they'll come up with shit and say space is infinite, or there's multiverses, or there's whatever. There's no way to escape it. There's no such thing as no thing. So let's see what's happening here. Craig T, space-time is BS. It's just a mathematical concept. It's not a thing. Shebang gang. Is that, you know, again, all these people that want to create factions, the propaganda, you know, objective reality is singular. There's no need for division. If everybody is an honest skeptic, a real scientist, people should be endeavouring to establish what the facts are. As soon as you see debates and stuff being pushed and false dichotomies being created, you know, there's an issue, you know. Just stand up to it. You are the voice. And nothing's going to change unless you take that and stand up, you know. We have the chance to turn the pages over. We can write what we want to write. I know it's hard and difficult because we've all got to meet ends meet before we get much older. We're all someone's daughter, we're all someone's son. How can we look at each other? How long can we look at each other down the barrel of a gun?
Hey Dad, it's Hudson.
Hello.
How you doing, fella? All right?
Yeah, no bad, bud. How's it going?
Good, fella. Yeah. Just let you know, mate. I'm into the Nordic Blue Vest and up. And I totally with you on everything. I know you had to vindicate you or like everyone, you know, every seems to go with your kids and your missus. Don't worry about that, man.
Hold on, mate. Hold on. I thought it was difficult for people to understand my accent. I've not got a fucking clue what you just said there, mate.
I'm genuine, man. I've been following you. I'm on your side. I mean, I'm not here to ridicule you or, you mean, just your kids or your missus like I've been seeing other people doing, man. I'm on your side, man. I'm here with you. Just want to chat, that's all, and be genuine.
It's quite difficult to make you out, mate. I don't know if there's an issue with your equipment there and your sound. It's very, very difficult to hear what you're saying.
Aye, mate, sorry about that. Yeah, passes apart. I'll carry on watching and I'll catch you later or something, yeah.
Sorry, mate. Can you say that again? Sorry, bud.
Yeah, I just said if it's a bad connection, I'll try again. I'll just try again, yeah? Alright, cheers out.
Aye, just come back in, mate, if you want to jump out and come back in again. Sometimes that resolves it.
Yeah, just go on the link again, is it?
Just use the same link. Just eject yourself out and then come back in. See if that helps.
2 seconds.
Is it just me? I thought it was like I watched the bare knuckling, I watched the Travellers and their antics. Sounded a bit like that to me. Hey, sorry, fucking, you bastards, shit. That's the only bit I can get out of them. You bastards, you cunt shits. I punch your cunt in his fucking, excuse me, you bastards. That's what I thought it was there. Apologies. Don't mean to be racist or anything like that, that's not what I'm saying, you know. Just a wee bit of... Sorry, Travelling Commando. Hey, fucking, here's your bastards, you fucking, hey, go see me and fucking, here's your fucking head back door and a fucking, hey, fucking, get here now, here's fucking. At least they cunts know what they're saying to each other. It's a bit like Scottish people, to be honest with you. So, I'm one to talk. You know, I am not passing judgment. It's merely an observation. An honest observation.
Yeah, listen again, yeah.
You're right.
Is that better?
Wee bit. Can you say how now, brown cow?
How now, brown cow.
Yeah, I like that. I like the way you rolled the R's as well. That's quite nifty, that.
Yeah, it's just South Wales accent, that's
Aye. What's happening, mate?
Good, fella. Yeah, I've been watching you for a long time, man. It's good to catch up with you, man. Actually, live, yeah. I'm with you 100%, fella. I mean, like I said earlier, I mean, I'm not here for bullshit, ridicule you, snap your missus or your kids on a holiday. That's a disrespect, that is, man. Like,
no worries, mate.
Respect you for that, man. And how you put up with him, man, without flipping, you know, respect you, man. But yeah, I mean, yeah, you know, all this, I mean, especially I couldn't understand, I mean, the other day, like, he just couldn't get into his head with the push-pull thing.
Oh, aye, the push-pull, I know.
He was driving me bonkers, mate. He was driving me nuts. Like, why can't this guy just get it? Like, I mean, he just can't get it. Like,
they're just deliberately no getting it. They know what it implies. That's why they'll never acknowledge it.
Yeah, honestly, I think he was just gonna wind up. Come on here and just call it back there. Like, I mean, because there's no other reason for it. I mean, if you can't see it, there's something fucking wrong with it. Like, I mean,
that's it, mate. That's it.
It's the same as the horizon. I mean, if you can't see that, there's something wrong with it. Even, you go down to the beach, you look from one end to the other, there should be at least, even if it's just a minuscule of curvature, you should be able to see at least something, like, I mean, but it's not, like, it's flat. I mean, these weather balloons gone up 130, 140 people at a miles, right? Okay, no problem. We sent the balloon up now, 140,000 feet in the air. I mean, and even at that height, you should see the curvature. I mean, if this ball, if this ball is only this, 25,000 feet,
It doesn't matter anyway. People need to get away from this. I see something, or I should see this or see that. That's not quantifiable anyway. The substances are telling you what the place is. The practical applications, the geometry that we assume tells you what the place is. That this, I see something, or you shouldn't see this, and you can see it from this height. And that's all the globular bullshit. Dancing and shifting the goalposts to try and suit their narrative. It's all based on visible phenomena with a serious lack of understanding of the human eye and what perception is, in regards to your vision. So, for me, it doesn't even matter. All these clowns claiming they see this or they see that. I'm not interested in that. I know how water behaves. I know the geometry that we assume and what's applied in everyday reality. So it's done and dusted right there and then. All that visible stuff's just to try and confuse people.
Of course it is. When it comes to this, if you can't trust your own senses, there's something wrong in it.
That's it. Exactly.
You can't trust your own eyes. What you're looking at, and it's totally something different to what you've been taught.
Well, it depends, because you can be it's not that your eyes are being deceived, but your interpretation can be off based on purely a visible phenomena. That's why you're required to have it as a tangible thing, so that you can quantify it in 3 dimensions and actually understand what it is. Just seeing something's no good enough,
Yeah.
So. Still there?
Yeah, still there, mate. Yeah. The same, I even took my boy out, my boy's only 6, and his mother, although we're not together, she's on the same page as me, and I told her about it one day, and she laughed and joked. I said, look, I'll take him with me now. Just research it, have an hour on it, that's all. And and then the following day, she said, I have been up all night. She said, I cannot get off, just trying to work it out for myself. She said, and I have to find out.
Good.
So I've been my boy now. I've been, saying to him. This is obviously what they taught you in school, right? But I took him out. I showed him the stars and the moon. And I said, does it look as if we are actually moving at so many miles an hour? And he's like, oh. No, he said, I can see. He said, the stars are moving, and we are not moving. He said, he said, right. Well, if a 6-year-old child, can walk outdoors at night and understand for himself, have the physical knowing that he's not moving, and to look at the sky, pinpoint his eyes on one position, and just watch the stars move from him, and know that he's still facing the same way, and the stars are moving, and it's not him. For a 6-year-old, and I just can't understand why these grown men just can't walk outside, look up for themselves, or go down to the ocean and see for yourself. And do I understand. I went through the same schooling as all these others. Yeah. And I understand. It's only up until about 3 years ago I actually came across it myself. I laughed and joked about it, and I didn't even look at it for a bit. And my mate came on to me. He said, "Oh, did you look at that?" I said, "Oh, I haven't." And he said, "Right." He said, "I sitting now down, and we are watching one video, and it wasn't a video. It was just." I was realizing, every time I go down to the ocean, I do see this. So every time I go outside, I do see the stars and the moon. No, it's moving. It ain't. And then the penny dropped like that. The penny just dropped. And from that second on, it was like, being told that Santa doesn't exist. You find out that he doesn't, and then you just never go back. You never go back, and it's been 3 years for me.
Yeah.
And I'm still on the same track. I'm still, I haven't veered off. Damn it, I'm a taxi driver, right? And then I speak to people on long and short journeys about all kinds of shit. And I try to like introduce it into conversation, sort of with certain people that I can trust having this sort of conversation with, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And yeah, a couple of the customers, I mean, they listen, and some don't say nothing, some have a laugh, and then some say, "Oh, I look into that." I mean, but like most of them, I pick up obviously the next week or the week after, whatever, and they say, "Oh, I looked into that." So there's a food for thought in it, and I pick them up week after week after week, and it's just in this little community beer, and I was growing. You mean, I picked up somebody the other day and said, "Oh, you're that taxi driver who picks Christine up," and I said, "Yes." So she lives just up the road from me. She was telling me, and I've been looking into it. She said, and I mean, this, she'll go and tell somebody else. She'll go and tell somebody else. I mean, and the more people who look into it. I mean, it just means, the truth's going to have to, it's only time will tell. The truth got to come out at some time. And it's just a matter of time. Like, I mean, whether I live to see it, you live to see it, even my kids ever live to see it. I mean, the truth will be revealed at some time. It has to be. Like, I mean, it has to be.
And that's it. Well, as long as people keep vocal about it and hang on to the truth and represent the facts exactly for how they are, then it will keep spreading. It'll not go away. So it's good that people like yourself are continually speaking about it and vocal and upfront about it, mate. So good on you for that, mate.
Well, that's it. You mean, I don't just jump into the subject and smack them in the face with it. You mean, it's all like, just these customers I've known for years. I mean, I've been driving taxis for like 17 years. Like, I mean, and these people, I can trust conversation, and I've had laughs with them, I've had ups and downs with them. I mean, and I could just walk to them and just mention, within conversation, just say, when you're outside now, go outside tonight now, so look up at the stars, and see if you were moving, or and come back to me, let me know. And then the following weekend, I'll see them, and how do you get on with that? And be like, "Oh, yeah, I never noticed that." I'll be like, "All right, I just saw next time now, you're down the beach or whatever. I mean, just think, how far now is it, do you reckon, all right, from one end of the right to the other?" I mean, that could be like, 800-900 miles, like, from one end to, if you're down the beach, you've got a wide angle from one, from sea, from from left vision to right vision, you mean?
Right.
Yeah, it could be like 700-800 miles, it could be the length of, like, well, whatever, but you think to yourself, right? And surely, there should be some sort of, even just that distance that I got in front of me now, like, and you think, you think of a globe and you think of the distance you got in front of me, you think, yeah, I should be at least seeing some sort of, even if it's an inch or two, like,
well, you can do it. You can get. I've said this so many times to people. There's, if you're on a coastline and you've got points between certain areas, you can put a straight level edge up, like a spirit level. I've done it before with a 3 metre spirit level, set it up on tripods, line it up to the horizon, and from one landmass into the other landmass there's no deviation. It should be there, there should be a noticeable deviation, but it's not there. But again, it's just visible stuff, and each to their own, whatever it takes to satisfy each individual. But for me, the substances, that's first and foremost. But as you say, people could set these things up and you can demonstrate it for yourself that there is no deviation in elevation from one point to the other.
No.
So.
Yeah, and the one that got them the best was the ship going over the curve.
Yeah.
Every one of them, they just couldn't wait to tell me when they got in the car. Like, they were like, I thought he was going over the curve. I was like, I don't be bragging or big head about it. Just say, congratulations or anything. You're well on the way, like,
Yeah, that's it, mate. That's it.
And that's it. They start doing experiments for themselves and stuff like that. And it's really good to see. That. And it's people of all ages. Young, a few youngsters. I've always heard it. I've heard of it, but never looked into it, whatever. But
Good, mate. Keep at it. Keep speaking to them.
Yeah, but like yesterday I was trying to, explain to someone about the push pull mat, that he was on about, and they were like, because I said to them, I said, "Oh, give that door a push there," and they pushed the door open.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I said no, I said, "Oh, push it in," and I go, "What do you mean push it in?" I said, "You're gonna have to shut the door now." So she's like, "Yeah, yeah." She said, "But I don't understand." She said, "Oh, don't I pull the door shut?" So I said, but I tried explaining to her then, and she just couldn't get it, this woman. Like, she just couldn't get it. And as I went through the whole, tug of war, car with a car. I done the caravan, the car towing the caravan. I went through everything like out with her, and she just. He was like talking to like he just couldn't get it, like
it's an ingrained false understanding, because people identify it as two totally separate things, as if there's two separate things at play. They just don't understand the simplicity of the mechanics, that it's both are the same. They're just descriptors, as I was saying last night. One denotes taking something further away from another object, and the other one describes bringing closer. But the mechanics, that was the bit that these guys last night were deliberately avoiding. It's the mechanics of what is required to make the motion happen in the first place. And for me, it's kind of deliberate, because they're trying to invoke mystical pulling forces and give credence to some magic, voodoo, woo-woo magic that fucking pulls stuff towards you, that fucking shite,
Yeah.
So, but it's because they require it for their faulty concept, So I mean, it's up for discussion whether or not that's been actively done through generations, deliberately implanting these faulty ideas and notions about motion and what's required, But I can understand the difficulty in people. That's all they've ever known. And the simplicity is so simple that it probably hurts their brain.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. But like, I'm a very uneducated. And I think to myself, if he's, I look at something, I told something. Like I didn't even think of that push pull, and until I started watching you. I never even thought of it. Like, I was, and I see him pull, and like I've been seeing pull on doors, and I think, why is it say pull on his doors to be saying push? Like,
That's it.
And yeah, and so I just, these people, they must go to these colleges or universities, and they must be putting some in the food they eat there, which makes them just gullible to bullshit. Like, just to absorb all this shit like a sponge, and then just regurgitate it in the classroom to other people. And these people take it in. And then they go and use it on the outside world and all that, and try to baffle it with bullshit science. With numbers and theories and fucking
that's it, mate.
Weird fucking sums and stuff like that. It's like not that you'd ever be able to work it out, but you think, fucking, I can't be asked. I'm just going to take your word for it. I'm not going to work all that shit out. Like, people, and 99% of people are probably like that. And then it's the 1% that think, no, that's bollocks.
That's it. They just don't see the intrigue and the interest that's actually there about their reality. They're so caught up moving forward and chasing their tail that they never stop to contemplate their actual reality and see the majestic aspects of it, and realise that there's things they can discover that will root them in better foundations than they've ever been in. But again, that's deliberate. Education is no proper education. It's about sweeping you up, filling your head with delusions, and sending you off into the world a confused mess. So if you can just show people, how magic and simple reality actually is, and show them that it's within their capability to understand it, you just need to give them that one wee thread, and hopefully they'll be interested enough to keep running with it. So as I say, good on you, mate. Keep speaking to people and keep at it, mate.
Well, that's it. I got the kids on board. And I got a 15-year-old daughter as well. And You know what I mean? She didn't laugh at first, but she was like, oh, I mean, yeah, whatever. I mean, and then when I actually started showing her things, you know, not videos, taking her places, showing her things. I mean, and I mean, experiencing what she's seeing. I mean, and for herself. I mean, and she's like, oh, well, this is totally opposite. You know, to what I've been taught in school. I mean, it's the same with vaccinations. I mean, my daughter's vaccinated because I didn't know at the time. She's 15. I didn't know 15 years ago, but my boy now he's 6. I mean, he's not vaccinated. Like, I mean, and you know, they were saying that. I mean, autism's going up and all that. Yeah, only since you introduced these vaccines and all that. I mean, you start pumping these kids with drugs and all that. Yeah, they don't do. I mean, you know, some of them have a bit of autism or whatever. I mean, and then I heard them on the radio the other day. More people are dying now of lung cancer than ever. I mean, how long have people been given? You know, I bet the smoking rate, you know, the people smoking now are lower than ever. I mean, but more people are dying of lung cancer.
Yeah.
I mean, everything is backwards in this world, like everything. I mean, they tell you to brush your teeth, use this toothpaste, use the water out of the tap. Yeah, carry on, it's fine. I mean, I find out, and oh yeah, fluoride or this, you know, fluoride toothpaste, fluoride in the water. You're using your brush and to scrub the fluoride into your teeth, then you lose all your enamel off your teeth. I mean,
exactly.
Everything's fucking ass backwards, like. I mean, and I mean, you don't know what to, you get told something, you think, oh, I better do the opposite of that, no? I mean, that's my natural instinct now. I see something, or I hear something, I think, I think, all right, I better do the opposite of that now, because I know. I mean, like my kids now, I say, I have them, with bottled water. I'm not saying it hasn't got fluoride in it, but it just says it hasn't got, it doesn't say on the ingredients, but I buy it on the trust it doesn't say it got it in it. And the fluoride-free toothpaste, I don't even buy that from me, because I don't even trust that, But I have to brush their teeth in this water, and that's all I need. I mean, you see these people in Africa, South Africa, pearly white teeth, full set of teeth. Don't tell me they are brushing with Colgate every day.
Yeah. No, there's so many factors.
Everything's backwards. Everything's backwards these days. It's the same with I don't know 100% what shape the Earth is, but on the understanding that it's flat and it's motionless. And that's about the understanding that we can perceive with our eyes. And but then we're told then it's a ball up in the sky. Totally opposite.
I know, mate. I know. It's just a joke, So.
Well, I tell you what, I don't want to take up any more time, fella. I know you got a chat to get on with, fella. I'll catch up with you again, mate.
No worries, mate.
Yeah, hey, it's been a pleasure. Pleasure. Keep up the good work, man. I follow you all the way. I have to subscribe, hit the bell. If they knock you off, I'll keep an eye. As soon as I see you back on, bam, I'm subscribing, fella. All right.
Cool. Keep up your own discernment, mate. Think for yourself. That's it.
You're welcome, Dal. Take care. Have a good night.
You too, mate.
All right.
Cheers, bud.
Cheers.
Right. Again, anybody that wants to join, you need to send an email to the above. Next is Thomas Corner. Hi there, I'd like to come on and talk about weather, or man-made weather I should say. Okay. Thomas Corner sent. What's going on here in the chat? Yeah, that's it. It's just ribbon with the accents and stuff. It's all in jest. People know that. We can have jest and we can have laughs with each other. We all know the intent behind it. You know, it's not about bullying and suppressing and all that stuff.
Right, Dale?
How's it going, mate?
Yeah, not too bad. Do you want me to stick a shirt on or something? It's a bit hot in here, like, but I can put a shirt on or something if you want.
No, you're right. You need. I'm getting a heavy feedback. I'm getting a heavy feedback.
I'll turn the sound down on the watch page. Turn the volume down a little bit. Is that any better?
Aye. I think I'm still getting it. It's as if you get speakers on or something.
Right, I'll drop out and come back in and see if that makes any difference.
No worries, mate. What comments are being deleted and blocked? What's happening? Lucky you, Shelley. I'm jealous. I want the sun back here right now.
Is that any better?
No, I'm still getting it. Is it? Do you know what it might be? If you get speakers for your sound, because your speakers, your microphone on your cam might be picking it up.
Alright, ain't no difference in it. Can you hear me okay now?
I can hear you fine. I'm still getting a slight
feedback. Yeah, I know I can hear it myself. I go on hangouts all the time and I don't get this line.
No. Okay, we'll just try and put up with it.
They don't want us to talk, that's the problem.
So how's it going? You wanted to talk about weather?
Yeah, I'm just... What concerns me, the weather at the moment, it's all... You can see it's man-made with all the lines and everything we're getting, and with HARP technology. And then you've got everything else going on. You know, I remember years ago, seasons where it started in autumn and it gradually got hot to summer and then went cooler as it got to winter.
Yeah.
But today, it's like one day it's 10, you know, you have a temperature of, say, 20, following day, 31. You know, it's like a 10 degree, 11 degree difference. You know, that's not normal.
No.
And they're trying to say it's climate change, but we know it's not that.
No.
Yeah.
That's it. That's the same. I've noticed that here as well. Even if we have the sun, you know, one day it can be 15 degrees, the next day, as you say, it's 25. You know, but there's no difference in the sun apparently. It's no like it's much closer or further away. That's really annoying. That's fucking...
I can't make you out. You sound like that last guy that was on.
It's something with the tech.
I'd really like to talk to you though, Dale. You know, maybe privately as well. Right. There's a few subjects I want to talk to you about, but I don't want to discuss on here when we're live without first talking to you.
Cool.
You know, maybe sometime during the week we'll have a chat or something.
But
the weather is definitely totally bollocks.
Right.
I mean, today I went to the yard. I've had a few drinks. I went to where I work, the yard, and there was 3 wagon drivers in there, and it's red hot. About 11 o'clock this morning, I said, "Why don't you come with me? You know, I'm having a barbecue. Come and join me." And they didn't. They're from Bulgaria. I've had a really good afternoon. They didn't bring no beer, no food, no nothing, but it didn't matter. We had a good time. You know,
good, mate.
And enjoyed it. Even though you know what's going on around us, you know, you've got to make the most of each day, I suppose. You know, and spread the word about all the bullshit that we're told.
Yeah.
And that's all we can do.
Well, socialising, getting together, having a party, being creative and being expressive is what we should be up to, without all the stresses and constraints, you know.
Oh, you're all broken up, Dale. I can't hear you. I'm going to leave. Anyway, let the next guy come on. Maybe next week I'll come on and I'll be sober then.
No worries, buddy.
This is my last day of drinking anyway, so... and eating meat. No more meat. We've had a barbecue today. We had a really good time. Spent the last £30 on our card because over the year we had this card where it put every time we bought meat, it put money on the card where we had £30 on it. So I spent that today, bought the meat, had a barbecue, drank the last of my brandy and everything. Well, they drank me dry, but it was a good day. And my intention is not to eat any more meat now. So
Cool.
we'll see.
Excellent, mate. It'd be interesting to hear
Even
how
though
that
I hadn't
goes.
had none today. Well, not much. Anyway,
Nice
catch you
one.
later.
All right, bud. Cheers.
And cheers for what you're doing, by the way.
No worries, mate.
Keep up the good work.
Cool.
You're doing brilliant. I love you.
Cheers, buddy.
Take care.
Take care, my man. Again, anybody that wants to join me, just need to send me an email above. Peter van de Wiel. Hey there, I'm Peter from Holland, 47 years old. Lived an ignorant life up until 2 years ago when I came across a video from Eric Dubay. Before I found the flat earth, I looked into more conspiracies, but after seeing 200 proofs, I knew everything coming from the government is a lie. Digging deeper and deeper into their satanic agenda, I found the most disturbing thing ever. Do you think it's true the elites are eating children? Man, I am so confused sometimes. People are so fucking stupid in general. They won't even hear you out. I'm looking to do something to wake up people here in the Netherlands, maybe writing a book. But that will take forever, having kids and being self-employed. Do you have any suggestions? Haha, anyway, I love to watch your channel, especially them interviews. I hate religion, but I love God. Whatever he is, staying humble. You're a great human being, God bless you. Cheers, Peter. Let me see here. Right, so, do I think that the elites are eating children? It's a horrific fucking thought, mate, but I wouldn't put it past any sort of deviant, weird behaviours. I don't know if they're eating children. I fucking hope no. Is there anything else that would be more repulsive? You know? Thought of that, the innocence of a child. And this is where we all are tarnished. This is where the baggage starts to happen. Because for me, the children are the pure expression. They have no filter. And rightfully so. Who is it? What is it about men, human beings, that think they've got the right to impose a filter, to start to restrict the flow of the natural expression? Pisses me right fucking off. You know? They have a voice, all these attitudes of children should be seen and not heard, and children are this, that and the other. Well, that's not fucking good, because you were a child yourself. You know? You needed that nurture, you needed an ear, you needed somebody paying attention. You know? So, as I say, I wouldn't put it past certain types to be up to that kind of shit. I fucking hope it's not happening. That's all I can say to it. I wouldn't go getting yourself into dark places with too much of that until you establish what is actually going on. There's a lot of fear mongering, a lot of stories out there about what these people are up to and who these people are, and you know, from their shape-shifting reptiles to the eat fucking babies to whatever, you know. They are stupid in general, but we say people are so stupid in general, but you have to understand that they are a product of this environment, the times that we are in. They are a product of the falsehoods. You know, I've said this to people before, you know, people make these sweeping statements in regards to other human beings, but you have to understand that given the right opportunity to flourish in proper nurturing, you don't know what the majority of human beings would be and what they are actually capable of. I think they're capable of much wonderfulness. You know, it's no all doom and gloom. Again, I'm always suspicious of these things that, you know, we're generalised and pigeonholed as having this type of barbaric caveman type mentality, and I just don't see that to be the case, you know. And I think that plays a role in keeping you in fear, and it is a form of gaslighting, because that's what you're ascribing to yourself, that you're part of that, and that's the narrative you're constantly reaffirming, that that's who you are, that's your lineage, this is what you're part of. So I would try and reassess and pull myself back for that and say, well, I know what I am. I know that I would never partake in any of that. I know what's in my heart. I know how I extend myself and nurture the ones that need nurturing, protect them, you know, because we were all in that position. So these motherfuckers that abuse children in any way, shape or form are the fucking scum of the fucking earth. I don't give a fuck whether it's through ignorance or they are a result of their circumstances. No fucking excuses. It's time for cunts to snap out of this delusional fucking hypnotic trance that they're in. Running about avoiding themselves, looking to blame an invisible bad guy or wait for an invisible saviour to come and make it all better because they're just pure victims of the fucking big bad dude. Watch all these cunts that perpetuate that fucking bullshit. They're all stories that take away from you taking responsibility. You're looking to do something to wake people up here in the Netherlands. I'd be very careful of that as well. You know, people can know that I'm saying you are, but people can fall into a messiah complex. And that, starting off from that grounds of, you know, you want to change people or convert them or any of these things, these are avenues that are only going to result in your self-destruction. Right? I don't ever set out with that attitude. I can only empower myself. I can only look to be in a position where I get up each day and I'm comfortable and happy and content that I'm being committed to my true essence and following that through continually. Right? If I start to invoke, you know, false ego things like I'm a saviour and I'm a leader of the peoples and all that fucking stuff, then you can start to warp your perceptions and delude yourself into a bad avenue that I would be very cautious of. So, you want to do something to wake people up? Keep speaking. Be you. This is how it works. The people that I looked up to were the people who walked their walk, who made no apologies for walking their walk, represented themselves, you know, whatever it may have been, a creative expression, a mechanical endeavour, a construction, or whatever. People who walked a walk of being true to themselves, and that radiated for them. Right? That's where I learned stuff. It was from these people that I would learn something from. They didn't have to come and go, oh, I'm going to impose this on you and I'm going to tell you how it is, like fucking school. Because I reject that. And I reject it when it's done with pomposity and assumed authority and, you know, false sense of superior intellects and all these fucking, you know, idiotic stances that people operate from. So I don't need somebody spewing their fucking gums at me. Just walk your fucking walk. I don't need your words. I don't need your pish. Walk your walk. I will observe. So it's the best advice I can give you. Know that I'm giving you advice to influence you. I'm only talking from who I am and how I see it. So take from that what you will. Cheers for the email anyway, Peter. Right, if you want to join me, you need to send an email to the above. I've not got any requests. So I'll wait a couple of minutes. If I don't get any other requests, I'm just going to post it into the chat box and see what happens. Nobody likes me. Nobody's getting to say. Somebody's putting a comment, don't magnets pull? Nobody really knows what's going on with magnetism. Is it creating a void? And therefore anything within that vicinity is being pushed into that region? I don't know. We'll not know until we fully understand what magnetism actually is. But even if you were to lend that and say, okay, it's some sort of pulliness, which I doubt, because everything else tells me that motion's created by something pushing. So maybe you can call it ether, you can call it the grid, whatever you like. Maybe a magnet warps that, causes some sort of black hole, and everything else rushes in to fill that void, you know? But as I say, even if you lend them that and say, okay, they're not claiming that it's a magnetism. They'll say it's like. Can you hear me, Jed? Hello. Is there bendy water out there? Is that better? That's better, is it? Pull that over. Maybe it's me. Maybe I'm just a bit more softly spoken. How about you, Jed? Do you not got something to say? I see you're doing stuff about the grey area and all that. What grey areas do you think there is? What's not been spoken about? Give me an example. I'll give you my take on it. I don't want nobody else. She's lying. Matthew C4, I know that song. Fishaholic, hi Dale, what do you know about Bohemian Grove, or have you heard about it? I'm curious to hear what other people think about it. Of course I've heard about Bohemian Grove. What do I think about it? It's a retreat for people in specific positions. It's like a wee club, and you need to be in the club to go there. And apparently they have meetings and do certain rituals and all that kind of stuff. Whoever floats their boat. Some say plans are made there, agendas are unravelled, people are put in the picture, people are selected to fulfil specific roles, you know. Seen the whole thing of the burning effigy, you know, Moloch, the big owl, and, you know, bodies being floated in and all this fucking stuff. You know, I've seen all this through the years. I still didn't have enough to make any, to have an understanding of what was actually going on. Apparently Alex Jones managed to sneak in and all that stuff. Maybe it's just to give the air of the illusion that they're mystical and powerful and all that. And they let guys like Alex Jones kid on that he sneaked in so he could film it and go, ooh, it's all woo-woo and they're all magical. They've got big special powers, so you better no fuck with them. Just a bunch of fucking dick sniffers. They got a fucking swift jab right to the fucking jaw, kicked in the stones and told to stop fucking about with daft robes, saying prayers to big fucking stone owls and all that. What the fuck he's up to, lads? Huh? Taking too much fucking mushrooms, methinks. Get a grip of yourself. So I've seen it all, watched it all. I remember all these people, you know, they were on the inside and they all came out and they're telling stories. What was the other one? Revelations of a Mother Goddess, Arizona Wilder. You know, apparently she was used in ritual abuses and seeing the Queen and all that turning into fucking 8 feet fucking lizards. You know, with their robes on and their wee goblets with fucking blood in it and all that stuff, doing mad rituals. I mean, it's all just fucking stories. Interesting. Stories that titillates your imagination. But that's probably the desired effect. Right? To send you on the false path of what's actually happening in reality. Who knows? I wasn't there. If I ever get to meet the Queen, I'll try and peel her fucking hair off or something. Scratch away at her cheek. I want to see the scaly skin under there, you boot. Lift your kilt. I want to see your big fucking tail. I'm still awaiting my invite to Buckingham Palace. Wonder if it'll ever come. Do I not deserve an OBE or something? Or an MBE, whatever the fuck. Apparently I'm a big cunt. I'm special. The people on the telly no get all these things. How am I not getting one? Where's my fucking invitation, Queenie? Lisa. I might get invited to the Tower of London. I heard that there's tunnels under there. And if you get invited to Tower of London, you get into the tunnels and you meet the reptiles. I wish these reptiles would hurry up and give me an invitation. What's happening, guys? Reptoid dudes out there. Where's my fucking invitation? Told you long ago, put me in the fucking picture and I'll shut up. Maybe. Depends what it is you tell me and how much you tell me and if I think you're keeping stuff for me. Right? You better just tell me the whole fucking story. Reptoid overlords. Send me an email about what, Tom Corner? What's going on? I mean, people like Jimmy Savile, all that, I mean, that's going on. That was the power. You think of these people back in the days, like the 60s, the 70s and the 80s, they had godlike status because the TV was everybody's focus of attention and nobody wanted to see that these people were up to no good. But I've got stories of experience for even family members. Are these creepy weirdos coming to town? You know, one was Glenn Michael's Cavalcade, and family members of mine who went to see Glenn Michael, the wee performance. I don't know if anybody remembers that. And apparently he was inappropriately touching, you know, young females at the time. So again, you set up a system and you give a place for these people to get deluded so that they can then see that people are blinded by their status. That's when that starts to take over and they realise, oh, I could get up to deviance here because I'm immune. I'm going to get away with it. Which says a lot about the human spectrum. You know, give them the right circumstances and you just don't know what behaviours start to manifest. So for me, it's get rid of the fucking systems and the structures that allow these behaviours to, you know, pop forward. Toe the line, fuckos. So for me, I can see an end to all that. It has to come about. And people need to realise how these behaviours start to come about. They're encouraged. All men are pervs, Elisa, you know, but, you know, we have to understand the social boundaries of what's acceptable. There's nothing wrong with being a perv, for fuck's sake. You know, it's an appreciation of the artistic form of the female, coupled with, you know, chemical hormones running through your system. It's not a bad thing, right? Well, that's it. You know, back in the days, people were very isolated, and there was a public perception of these celebrities. So people couldn't connect, they couldn't freely share information. It would be easy to shut people down. You can isolate and compartmentalise certain aspects that may be talking and just fucking shut them down because they've not got a voice. They've not got a method of getting their word out to the wider populace. So it was easier for them back in the day. You know, now they're having a real problem with the social media stuffs and how connected people actually are. You know, which for me is good. Because again, it's all heading towards finding the equilibrium again and eradicating all these factions that have got away with what they've got away with up until now, you know? And that's the very one, Happy Mushroom. It was in Linwood in the 70s. Aye. That's probably because you weren't his type, Happy Mushroom. Ah, you had an appendage between your legs that never really tickled his fancy. I hope you're not feeling like you missed out on something. That would be bad. Can't believe how many years no one takes these gatekeepers to task on FE. What ones, Elisa? Tell me them, I'll take them to task. Tweedy Halls, that's the very one. Highway Child. There's no more. Tweedy Halls are gone. Well, there's a new one, but flat enough. Perhaps with this slow release, part of the plan is to corrupt people into trying to become celebs themselves. Well, I think you can see that. You know, it's that whole thing. Everybody's trying to be popular and famous. And again, especially with social media, it portrays a false perception. And you've got a lot of insecure and gullible youths out there who see these, everybody's got a fucking excellent lifestyle on Facebook. It's all fucking catalogue poses. Look how windswept and interesting my life is. And it can give a false perception to an impressionable mind looking on. And they're constantly trying to achieve these catalogue pose moments and running about their life trying to achieve the catalogue pose, and it's just empty. And because they're not getting the accolades for that, or they're not getting that attention, their self-esteem goes down, they start to become bitter, they start to become depressed, more anxious, and before you know it, they're either fucking wanting to shoot every cunt, or they're committing fucking Harry Carey. So, again, this brings me back to this, when we have these things like social medias, for me, they're a useful tool, and they have to be restricted to the point of only being useful for, real world objective facts, things that are useful to us, real education, artistic stuff, lessons, whatever, practicality, things that are based in useful aspects of living. But people's attentions are on these things for mundane, dreary, subjective judgment and fucking projections and, all the mental illness just being spewed onto it. And it's having an adverse effect on, new generations coming up. So, and for me, that's it. I want no part of it. It's just the position we're in right now. As I keep saying, if we can eradicate all this, I'm quite happy just back into obscurity. And these tools can all be used for sharing things that are useful to other human beings, real world factual stuffs. Shout out to David Icke, he knows the reptiles. I've still to see one of these reptilians. Again, these stories that are created through a literal interpretation, for me, I can look at certain people and look at the reptilian type behaviour that they have, the cold-heartedness, the methodical, habitual behaviours that you could term reptilian, but to say that they're morphing into 8-foot fucking things and all that and drinking blood out of goblets, well, I'm open to any possibility, but so far I have seen nothing to convince me that that's the case. Before you go saying that I'm a gatekeeper and I'm shutting it down. Oh, I'm talking a wee bit quiet this evening. Jed, do you hear me alright? Am I still quiet? Of course, Ricky Subtle, of course. I know. Just using the opportunity to put that across though. Right, let me check here. Right. Carbon. Sitting in Weatherspoon, listening to your podcast, I'm wondering whether you have heard of the subject title. Sincere regards, Monder Minimum, Grand Solar Minimum. Let me just take that. No heard it. That's something I've not heard of. The prolonged sunspot minimum is the name used for the period around 1645 to 1715, during which sunspots became exceedingly rare, as was then noted by solar observers. Interesting. So you think maybe it's getting closer to us? See, I thought about this as well. Maybe there's something like that going on. If this machine, this technology, is maybe goes through certain cycles, or it gets run down, or it breaks, or maybe components needing changed, certain aspects, maybe it is coming closer. I don't know. Maybe all this spraying to deflect is because they know the cycle and they're just trying to prolong it. They're trying to, delay what's actually happening. As I say, I was reading that last night. Apparently in France it was 45 degrees. I mean, that's fucking incredible. So something's obviously going on. And it's not that far from here to France. And we're only sitting around about 23. And again, the day, right now it's probably about 15, 16 degrees. Again, it's not that this thing's any further away or whatever. Maybe it's fluctuating. Maybe the power source for it or whatever's fluctuating. I don't know. It's stuttering. I don't fucking know. There'll be some mechanical aspect, right enough. So, cheers for that. Who is that? Sincere regards, Carbon. You've just put your name as. I'll check more of that out. Appreciated. Peter. Hey Dale, thank you for addressing my mail. Great advice. Staying true to myself is the only solution. Deep down I know that already. It's just confusing because it really doesn't stop at the earth being flat. Of course it doesn't, mate. And we all feel these frustrations. And I've spoken about that before. It's a good sign. It's a sign of the altruistic nature of wanting to freely share information and being excited about new things that you learn. And that's a great trait to have. It's just that in this climate that we're in right now, you're dealing with psychological states that you have to be a bit sneaky with. You have to kind of contemplate and understand how you're going to make a difference and affect them, So, all these things are great in an ideal world where we don't have all this fucking bullshit control and restrictions and people are just freely expressing their true essence, if you like. Because it really doesn't stop flat earth. That's it. Of course it doesn't. It's just blows away the cobwebs to the point where you actually realise that you need to take control of your own faculties. That if you can be deceived and you can be misled about the very fundamental aspects of your existence, then that rattles you enough to go, right, wait a minute, what else am I taking for granted here? What else have I taken on board? What other assumptions have I laid to rest and accepted to be the case? There's so much complexity in it. But it always whittles down to how you processing information. How does the components of this machine actually work? And what part do you play in it? Your free will, your volition. And can you organise and file all these things and separate them, objective, subjective, put them in an appropriate category? You know, it sounds very computer-like and robotic, but for me it has to be the case. It doesn't make you a robot. It just makes you responsible to yourself, so that you're not just wandering about in fucking delusion and confusion, spewing fucking jobby everywhere. You know, infecting the masses with your fucking verbal jobbies. So aye, there's loads more to it. But for me, you get to a certain point where you've eradicated a lot of this stuff, and there's certain aspects that are still intriguing and interesting, don't get me wrong, but I still understand that I'm not going to get a bigger picture until I know what this place actually is. To actually know what it actually is, what it's connected to, how far it goes and how far it extends, starts to build a bigger picture in your mind of what you're a part of. You know? All the stuff that's in here and all the interactions that have happened and the stuff that societies and cultures and civilizations have churned up. Aye, very good. You know, it's so interesting for you to delve into, but I need the bigger picture. I'm just going to get caught up in all that stuff, and I'm not going to get any resolve, because the majority it's out with, you know, people's direct experience. So what are you really getting for it? What real use is it to you? You need to ask yourself these questions. Why am I concerning myself with things that are out with my experience or out with my power? Why would I do that to myself? And why would anybody continually encourage you into the avenues? These are the questions you should be asking. Cartoon cavalcade in Bellahouston Park years ago, Fishaholic. I must have been doing the rounds. Matthew C4, you're wanting a link. Hold on. In fact, I'm just going to post this in the chat box. Anybody else that's got something to say, you know, just join in. Just to be fair, so that people can't say that it's an echo chamber and all that, you know. There you go, if anybody wants to join, you can join. Steve, 33 in Southampton today, sweaty nutsack, uncomfortable, muggy as fuck. Get your wee lacy shorts on then. Lacy shorts and get the fan blower happening, mate. You'll be alright. Cheers for the wee link earlier as well about the push-pull for kids. Let me just have a wee look at that again. And Steve sent me this. Fun, cool kid facts. Facts about force, push and pull. Facts about force, push and pull. Did you know that everything around us in the entire universe is actually controlled by a force? That's pretty amazing, don't you think? From our planets moving around in space to the sea rolling in and out, as well as walking and running, and even if you push your friend on a swing, forces pretty much control everything. Who would have known? So let's dive in and find out how these mysterious forces of push and pull work. Same fucking thing. Again, highlighting that they're trying to perpetuate this faulty understanding of the mechanics of motion in actual reality. What is a force? A force is really a push or a pull. Really? Where are we experiencing pull as a force? There is none. It's all push. Stop talking shite. Stop trying to brainwash children into having faulty concepts and understandings of their reality so that you can then implement your nonsensical woo-woo drivel of magical come to me forces, come to me, come to me. It's not a fucking movie. You absolute cretins. Who is this fucking mob? Just cool kid facts. Absolute fucking roasters. Force is really a push or a pull that makes something move or even turn around. Imagine you're pushing someone on the swing and they ask you to push harder and harder. The force gets bigger. The momentum, the motion gets bigger. You mean? And that then causes more movement. Or you're playing football. You give the ball a soft kick and it doesn't go too far or too fast. But then you knock the ball out the park and it goes further and faster. The same thing happens when you pull something. What? Again, not really defining it. Deliberately leaving it open to confusion. Sometimes two forces work together in something, and then their efforts are combined. This will either make the force bigger, or it will actually cancel the force altogether. If they work in the same direction, then they make that force bigger, but if they work in opposite directions, they cancel each other out. The forces are balanced, which means they are equal in size, but are acting in opposite directions. The object doesn't move, but it might change shape.
I love you, Del. You're like the father I never had, and I've always looked up to you.
Probably.
And,
that's probably the most truthful thing you've actually said, P-Mars. You need somebody like me in your life.
I just hope we can, as flat earthers, we can come together and unify and
Don't try and rope
attack
me into
each other.
Don't try and rope me into your sordid fucking sex fantasies about coming together and all that fucking shite, son, right?
Have a blessed day, Del.
Okay. Aye, so pushy pull nonsense for children. Beware, parents out there. They are deliberately giving your children a false sense of the reality so that they can then implement utter jobby. FPV Angel, hi there, what's FPV Angel? I'll come and have a chat with you. We prefer in private first as we have many subjects to talk about. Free pick attached in case anyone is hungry. Aye, FPV Angel, just give me a shout. Aye, whatever you prefer. You can come on live, we can have a chat in private, and then you can go live, whatever you like. Just let me know. MMDC, hi Del, my name is Max, YouTube name is MMDC. I find it interesting how you manage to have a discussion with people on the street and on your channel regarding the Earth and several other relevant topics. I've been doing it as well, to just talk to people and have an open discussion about their worldview. So far I've had some good talks, but I still have this mountain to climb to overcome the fear of starting such a chat. That's where you need to get sneaky, and you need to be indirect, as it's not an everyday topic, and still I'm overthinking the point of what they would think about me. Well, just play to them. Again, everybody likes to be a know-it-all and a smart ass. People like to jump in to try and help those that they consider to be less intelligent or less fortunate, should you say, or something like that. So act daft. Act like you're confused. You know something? Something came up in my feed and it was today. It was in regards to like the shape of the Earth and the points that were made were quite confusing because they seem to be really compelling. And it's kind of sent me on a spiral of questioning this, and I'm not really sure what to make it. What would you think it? Here, I'll tell you what it is and let me know what you think. Act like that. Don't act like you're telling them something. Like you're trying to take the authoritative role and bombard them with it. Act daft. Never mind your ego and your need to be, some sort of false stature in their minds, whatever the fuck that is. Just act daft. Play to them. That's what being a cold reader, is all about. You need to learn to read them. What kind of state they're in, what they're all about. Right, alright, I'm going to act like a dafty here. Oh, I'm confused, I need help. Can you help me? Oh, I'll help you. Hey, that can scratch, then they can scratch their ego thinking that they're, important and relevant in life, that they have a place, they're going to help you. Then you can fucking launch the points at them and watch them descend into chaos. Without them ever identifying that it was you that done it. So, anyway. I'm a very shy guy, but find it important to take on this task. I was the same, mate. I'm an introvert. For the majority of my life, I was isolated. I've said that many times. There used to be cobwebs on my letterbox. I was too intimidating for people. I was an angry man. I was fucking, dealing with all sorts of nonsense. And could see the problems and the falsities in society and the structures and the circles that people get themselves involved in, and I was never satisfied with any of that. So I get where you're coming from, but just like you, when you see things that are important, it drives you, and that's what drove me into this, especially when I could see the propaganda, the shit that was going on, and for me, I just seen it as an opportunity. If people can really grasp this and start to empower themselves, then we have that opportunity to break apart this whole fucking bullshit structure. So I felt compelled enough and strongly enough to step up to the mark. And I still struggle with it. It's still not an easy thing to sit here and talk to a piece of fucking plastic. But you just kind of get used to it. And sometimes it's kind of therapeutic because you can just let the thoughts run out. And you can hear it as you're saying it, and you figure new things out about yourself. So it's actually quite therapeutic. I would love to have a talk, as I find you an intelligent person, but as I just said, I am shy, and English is not my native language. Take care, Dale. Kind regards, Max Mies de Clean. What? Just give me a shout, MMDC, if you want to have a chat. As I say this to everybody. I'd rather people just request to have a private conversation with me than, emails, because for me, I'm just going to keep shying away. If I see a pile of emails, I'm like, oh, fuck that. I'm just going to run away and act like they don't exist. And it's not because I don't want and I'm not interested in people. It's just because it's so difficult for me to have that attention and focus to sit and type. It's like I lose the fucking will to live. So, people just don't take it to heart or think that I'm ignoring anybody. Request me to have a chat. I can quite easily stick a hangout on, press a fucking button and just talk. It's dead easy. Hey, I did post that link into the chat box. What's happened? Is fucking somebody ended it or what? No, it's still there. I've been out fishaholic. As I say, I don't just record it all the time. I like just going out sometimes, or maybe go with the dog or whatever. When I'm out on the bike, I'll engage in conversations with people, but I don't. Sometimes I just can't be bothered with us pulling the camera out and all that stuff, I know Sandy123. The mentality of some people can grate on you, which is why I have always been introverted and not really socialised much, because I can't be bothered with the mundane fucking drivel. Everybody's projecting their fucking opinions and trying to assert their opinions with authority, and their opinions is more relevant and their stature's relevant and better than your stature, and oh, for fuck's sake. Boring. What's Joshua Doyle up to? What are you talking about, Joshua Doyle? Who's a show? Any of these people ever articulate, with specifics, or they're just going to keep shouting shite? Derp. You're displaying your derpitude right now. You derpity wee derp. I know, Sandy123, that's it. You realise the detrimental effect that it has on you, especially when you're always questioning and contemplating and, you know, assessing what's actually going on, you know, and trying to make sense of it. It starts to become apparent that it's just dysfunctional. It's habitual escapism for people. And I never wanted to escape from myself. No matter how depressed or how bad I felt about anything, I never ever wanted to give up and escape from myself, you know? But some people just get into that habit. What's Joshua Doyle rattling on about Celtic 67? Who's he talking to? Yeah, and the Generates, well, he's sold enough mugs and t-shirts, so I could quite believe that. Would I seriously consider Buddhism? No, because it's just assumptions being made. It's more delusions as far as I'm concerned. That's it, Lisa Hawk. That's the most important thing. Enjoying being you. When you get to that point, that's when things get easier. Now, even in the days where I used to wake up in the morning with no electricity, no gas, no food, no fuck all, you know, I had my dogs and I had myself and I found contentment with myself. All that other stuff just didn't matter anymore. Mattered not a jot. Waking up, being happy I was me, and being happy that the noise had descended was fucking wonderful. Low level Scouser. That is part of the beauty of Lisa. Was for me anyway. I think so too. I'm going to post that link again. Even if somebody can just click that to make sure that it is working, because we had P. Mars in, I don't know if he's disrupted it or some fucking thing. What do I mean by the noise had descended? I mean that when I started to file and categorise the thoughts that were running, as I've explained to this before, it's like, if I can give the analogy, it's like if I postulate a duality and that I'm an observer, my consciousness, soul, whatever you want to call it, is just an observer, and it's meshed with this biological, physical computer, right? That's got a processing unit that takes in stimulus, you know, information and sound, colour, smell, all sorts of fucking stuff. If I'm not paying attention to that, you know, it's taking it in, so it's got to be gone somewhere. And if I'm not actively looking at it, filing it, sifting through it, you know, resolving it, understanding it, it's just going to keep running until it's put in its file, just like a computer. You don't just willy-nilly start blasting things all over your PC because it starts to get run down. Things are not being filed properly, it starts to get infected, you know, it'll start to gradually slow down. So for me, that's what it was about. Once I started to really dig in and address, look inwards, look at myself, you know, all my insecurities, all my anxieties, where they were all stemming from, you know, following the whole train of events from childhood, you know, the whole process. Once you start on that and you really start to look at it, then you start filing it. And once you've looked at it, you've resolved it, and you've understood it, it seems to dissipate. It's no longer running in circles. You know, we're at a point where I used to be lying in my bed like, oh, or I'd wake up in the morning and go, I don't want to be awake, oh, because I wasn't content with myself, because the thoughts and the feelings were all just fucking running and rushing at me, you know, until I stopped and went, right, I'm going to start fucking drilling them. That's what I mean. Once you turn your attention to it, then it starts to dissipate, it starts to ease, because you're filing it, you're resolving, you're coming to an understanding. You get closure on certain aspects that you've been avoiding. So, I don't know if that clears it up for you. Let me see, I'm not sugar-coated at all. Joshua Doyle, are you saying anything relevant here? Joshua Doyle, please articulate something relevant and I shall read it out and address it. Sure you did, World Without a Curve, and for me these aspects, this again is the catalogue photographs. Hey, we have to, we're all happy, we're all content with our catalogue photographs. Hey, look at me. I'm so windswept and interesting. It's all that bullshit that stops people really talking about and sharing the real experiences, because we're all subjected to it. Really, when it comes down to it, we're not any different. You know? We can have different levels of emotion and, you know, things that happen to us, but it's all the same. And people are scared to openly talk about it and share these experiences, because people are scared to accept that they're part of you know, they're sharing something with people. They want to be so different and relevant and special, and, you know, there's loads of complexities to why people don't open up with each other, right? Because they want to keep projecting the falsities, and they like the accolades or the reception they get from the projected, you know, falsities. So they don't ever want to admit that they've got inner turmoil, or that they've not really got it together, because they don't know where to turn. Because everybody's just acting like it's all normal and it's all okay. So, you know, the experiences that I've experienced, I'm sure millions, billions have experienced it, and many people are experiencing it right now. I'm no special, they're no special. They need to just stop all that crap. Start talking to each other, honestly. You know, without, you know, wee agendas behind the communications. Just be freely expressing, without wanting something for somebody else. There's the hippie coming out again. Hippie bastard. Fucking hippie idealist cunt that you're. Throw the labels, throw them. Oh, you're a cradle snatcher, Elisa. Yeah. You see the amount of guys piping in here shortly going, I'm only 34. Or subtly flinging in, I was born in 1985. Trying to draw you in. You like the pushiest? Ah, you like a battle then, eh? You like to feel some resistance. Is that what it is? Eh? Bit of pushback. Keep you on your toes. Don't like it too easy. That's the way it should be, should it not? We should all be challenging each other. Not just in male-female relationships, and any relation. We should all be pushing each other. If we all just try and keep reaffirming each other's biases, we're not going to get anywhere. They're just going to have a perpetuation of fucking faulty echo chambers. You know, which is exactly what we've got right now. People in conversations just want you to reaffirm their bias, regardless of what it is. They want you to just be their audience. You using my partner for fucking chatting up young men, are you? What's happening? Did somebody try that link for me? Can somebody just, you don't need to come in and say anything. Just come in and say hi or something. Exactly. Make each other grow. That's it. Don't take any falsities. Cut right to the fucking core. So people start getting real with themselves first and foremost. And then they can maybe start being real with other people. And then you'll have progress. But people take challenge and pushing each other as threats and intimidation. Now you're intimidating me. Hello. Hello, hello, hello. I've got West Coast.
Hello.
Who's muted me? Why are you coming in and just starting muting whoever that is? There's no need to do any of that. Tony. Whoever you
The
are.
link. The link works. Down. Is it okay?
Oh. Right, we've got
Oh,
Speed,
I meant to mute myself.
Speed Freak, Tom and Tony. How are you all doing?
Good, mate. How are you?
No, I'm alright, mate. I'm alright.
Good. Is the weather any better for you recently, mate?
Nah, we had 3 days of good weather. Now it's back to fucking shit. So.
Can never fucking win, can you?
No, I'm just not happy. I need to be living in Greece or something like that. Again, anybody out there, you know, any avenue to get to Greece or southern Spain, give me a shout. I'm up for it.
Take a drive out, mate. Take a drive out. Get on the Eurostar, mate, and get across to Europe. It looks like they're baking over there.
I know. I'm fucking jealous. You know, but I don't want a holiday. I want to actually go and live there.
Yeah. Oh, you're not going to get any of your money's worth tax wise, mate, because Greece has gone for a ball of shit economically. So
yeah, fuck well. Just living on the good fruit and the foods is enough for me, mate. I don't want money. I'll live in a shed on the beach.
Yeah, exactly. On a small island. A small island with no other people on it except your family.
That's it. Exactly.
How do you experience things in the UK at the moment with all this Brexit bullshit?
Okay, I don't pay any attention to politics, mate.
Waste of time, isn't it?
I can't be bothered with it. It just bores the life out of me. I don't. To be honest with you, I don't really fully understand it. I've never gave it enough attention to understand what it's actually about. To be honest with you, man.
I just because I'm a keen car enthusiast, I do like to look at what the supercars are selling for on Auto Trader.
Mm-hmm.
And man, some guys were paying £350,000 for a car, which is now worth 200,000 after Brexit.
Yeah.
They're losing so much money that it looks like the economy is really taking a hammering, eh?
Yeah. Aye. I say it doesn't really affect me right now, the position I'm in, so it's not my concern, to be honest with you. My attention's just never went there. Some people say, "Oh, you should understand these things," but I just don't have the drive or the will to understand it. You know, I could probably sit and, you know, somebody like yourself, if you understood it and have a conversation, and then I would grasp it. You know, if you could give me an overview, I would get it from there, and then I would kind of understand what was happening. But I just don't have the will to go and even try. It's like computers. I just don't feel motivated enough to go and try and fully understand. You know.
Yeah, it boils down to what we've discussed before again. There's things in your life you can control, and there's things in your life that you just fucking can't control.
Exactly.
And you just have to resign yourself to the fact that the powers that be, the monopolies that control our money, the banks, the institutions, the government, you know, they are in control. You can forget about steering the ship in a different direction, and that's where you should just like we've discussed, just do in our own lives what we can to be happier people, for ourselves.
Exactly, that's it. It's drive your own ship. Exactly that, mate. I'm not interested in busybodies trying to fucking control everybody else. That's a faulty mindset as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, that brainwashing, brainwashing, evil.
It's the TV. People are going to stop watching the TV, radio, listening to radio.
I'll tell you a funny story. We were brought up in a pretty strict Christian household, and in South Africa, where I come from, I think the television was introduced in about 1978 or 1981, somewhere around there. And when we were young kids in the house, about 6, 7, or 8 years old when the priests and the people from the church used to come visit us at home. Our parents used to take the TV set and go hide it away in the fucking bedroom cupboard in the clothing closet, so that the people from the church don't know that we have a TV in our house, because apparently at the time it was the biggest evil to have in your house. The church.
Well, the one
you know, not to have a TV, it's so evil.
Well, they were quite right, you know, considering what it's been used for. You know, I would tend to agree. It's interesting that you say that. Are you still a man of that walk? Are you still Christian? Are you have a faith or a?
Del, no. I'll be honest with you. I even at the age of about between 18 and 20, I sort of started attending church less and less. For the simple reason that I was a young fella in church. I was a young guy, probably of the age of about 13 or 14, maybe up to 15 years old. And there was one thing in the church that didn't make any sense to me. So we were brought up in the apostolic church, and the leader of the church in the South African or Southern African region. You know, the church was built and the church was managed based on the donations received from the members. You know, your donations that you make at church every Sunday. You know.
Yeah.
And this gentleman needed a new motor vehicle, and he was called the district apostle for the Southern Africa region, and he went and bought with the church's money a flash 735i BMW, brand new. You know, and at the time, even as a young fella, I thought to myself, you know what? This is really, really odd. Why does he have to drive a flash, luxurious BMW when a small Nissan Sentra or a small motor vehicle can give him exactly the same facility that he needs? So from a young age, from the age of sort of 14 or 15 already, in my own mind, I went, no, this doesn't make sense. It's not his money. It's donations from the members of the church every Sunday that accumulates, and he's spending it on luxury motor vehicles and luxury homes, you know. So even back then, I thought, you know, something weird is going on here, and I started sort of mentally looking at the church from a more objective view. You know, it's just tax-free money-making institution, in my opinion.
So you can see that it's an opportunist, whether there's corruption ensued based on a kind of spiritual teaching. But what you know, I can see the separation. Obviously, you would notice the hypocrisy there and the contradictions with, you know, the corruption and people using it to their own benefit. But what we're talking about was the actual teachings. Are you still, you know, were you influenced by that to the point that you still carry it forward?
You might remember a hangout that I joined a couple months ago when it was your birthday, and I said to you, you know, I will never discard the good values that it taught me as a young person. You know, even though I don't like the institution of a church, I did appreciate the teachings of the church. So based on the 10 Commandments, don't steal, don't commit adultery, you know, don't kill, don't. You know, all the rest of the teachings I still apply on a day-to-day basis, you know, in my life. But it's the institution is what I've walked away from, not the values that it's given me as a human being. Because they teach good values.
Yeah.
They teach people good things, you know, to be good people and, you know, to be good, you know, people in the society. But it's just the institution I had a serious problem with, you know.
Yeah. Well, that's interesting that. Because I say you see a lot of people who say they've walked away, and I'm always interested to what the factors were that drove them, you know, to either, you know, ditching the institutions and ditching the teachings or, you know, the spiritual message. So I'm always curious to know and understand what went on with people, you know.
It's as I say, there was the three things in my life that I think has turned me into the person that I am today. Is my parents, the home that I was brought up in. So my father and mother, and they are still married today after 40-something years. They, you know, anniversary. They're still married today. So I was brought up in a good home. I think I was taught in a good school, again from a values and a knowledge point of view, and my trade that I do today, and then the church has given me good sort of human values, you know, human nature, to be a good person and so on. So it doesn't prevent a person from being a you know, an open-minded thinker or a skeptic, you know, to be a skeptic. I mean, I'm a big skeptic today, and I was brought up in the church and the school, and am still an open-minded skeptic today. So
what's
it's
your
not.
what about the aspects of creation? I mean, what's your stance on these types of things? Are you believer in, you know, a god or an intelligence behind this existence, or?
They definitely, Dell, in my opinion, is issue or not factors or there's things out there that we as humans don't know about or don't understand. I have full belief for that, because the subconscious mind and things that I've experienced, waking up in a transcendental state in the middle of the night, appearing that there's not people but potentially presence, you know, of something in my room, standing next to my bed. Something like that has happened to me on 2 occasions.
Yeah.
And I've never in my life used or any form of drugs, you know, so I've always stayed away from that sort of stuff. I do enjoy a bit of alcohol, but, you know, on 2 occasions, clear occasions that I do remember, I woke up in the middle of the night where I was awoken by something. So I was forcefully awoken by something, and I had some presence in my room with me, and I can't explain it. And it's only happened ever in my life twice. And so it's and also deja vu. I've had a couple of experiences of deja vu where I go into a situation. So I run my own mechanic repair and maintenance business, so automotive repair and maintenance business in Auckland, in New Zealand. And sometimes I would walk into my reception counter and meet a customer and have a conversation, and I know that I've had this conversation with the same person before, you know. And that's happened a couple of occasions as well. So things like deja vu makes me wonder, how would an event that I know in my mind has already taken place now eventually take place?
Yeah.
And so those are the little things that I have no knowledge of. I can't explain them, but it makes me wonder how the conscious and the subconscious mind, is it controlled? Is there things like external electrical or you know, magnetic influences and things that may, I don't know. I can't think these things. I don't.
I wonder that sometimes as well, if there is a deterministic factor at play here. Sometimes I think about that, and I question, how much am I really in control here? If I look at the previous events in my life, and you know, I never really did any real effort for things to unfold, for me to arrive at the position I'm at right now. I never really had to put much focus or attention to any of these things. It just seems to be driven by something that doesn't require my volition. Although at the same time, I seem to have this aspect of me where I can make conscious choice. You know, I can refuse impulses. I can analyse. I can make a decision on certain aspects. So I've wondered that about things like deja vu before as well. Is it, am I replaying? Do we replay the same scenarios over and over, make different choices within it? Or I've also thought, you know, as you talked about subconscious mind there, is it that it's like a reel that's playing, and you're somehow getting a glimpse of what's going to manifest just before it manifests, and then and as you start to catch up and sync with it just as it happens. So you know, there's, and
that's why sleep for me is a very interesting phenomena. I'm going to call it a phenomena because although your body goes into a restful state, they say your brain is never asleep. And you know, that's for me, and I'm not sure, you know, a lot of people struggle with sleep. I have no problem sleeping, so I can go to bed at 8 o'clock at night and wake up at 8 o'clock in the morning and have 12 hours sleep with no problem at all. You know, I'd have to get up in the middle of the night to go have a piss, but the minute I put my fucking head down on the pillow again, I'm fast asleep again, you know. So I have no issue with that. But during sleep, strange things happen. You know, very strange things happen. And then the other quick little experience I'll tell you about. Now, I have before dabbled a little bit, not dabbled, but just explored a little bit what you know, the horoscopes and the readings that they predict from the stars, you know. If there could be any relevance to that. And I'll tell you about one incident that happened in my life. This was back in South Africa. I was in the sales telecommunication sales business for a couple of years. I earned my qualification as a motor mechanic, and then spent a couple of years in the telecommunication and IT sector, where I was taught a lot of sales and marketing skills.
Yeah.
And during this one period, we had about a month where things were really, really quiet. We were expecting some big sales to come through and to eventuate. And on this one day, I thought, okay, let me read the horoscopes, because for a period of time I was reading them regularly. And it said to me in the one horoscope prediction or reading that within days, you're going to get a very financially rewarding message or experience come through. And interesting, a customer that I was dealing with 6 months ago and presented a quotation for a big telecommunication solution, 3 days after that gave us a call. 6 months, I'd already forgotten about this customer, and literally 3 days after reading this coincidental reading, the phone call rings, and it was a couple of £100,000 worth of telecommunication system that they wanted to install, and they gave us the go-ahead on the spot and asked me to come in for a meeting to sign all the paperwork.
Yeah.
So that was a very interesting experience, where I read it in print, and 3 days later the prediction came true, and it's little things like that that makes one wonder.
Yeah.
It doesn't make me a believer, but it makes me wonder, how are things, are there subconscious forces that we're able to exert which become reality? Is our mind that powerful? I don't know.
Well, that's it's always question, as you say. Don't make any assumptions about these things. Keep your mind open to the possibility, but acknowledge these things when they actually happen. That's the best I can do, without letting myself run away and start making assumptions and fantasies about what that actually is. So I think that's a healthy approach to take. But it is interesting. I mean, I question it continually. I definitely feel that there's a metaphysical aspect to this whole thing, and in my experience, similar to yourself, I had what they would term as sleep paralysis when I was young, and even into my adult life, where I would be in a waking state, or my physical body would be moving, and I would be outside it observing this happening. There's been loads of instances like that with me, but the thing about dreaming, obviously nobody knows why we sleep. It's a really intriguing aspect of what actually happens there. But even at that, when you're in a dream state and they say the brain never quietens, or it's always running, you still have moments of consciousness. Even when that's happening, you're having that experience, you're aware of it, because you can remember it when you wake up. So there's real complexity here. There's an essence to us that's something different from this physical biological machine. But again, I don't know what it is. I'm not going to jump to it and start making beliefs and telling everybody what it is. And I think that's a problem with people. Just sharing the experiences is enough,
Yeah. And it's fascinating, but it's not something I'm interested in understanding, to be honest with you. It's I think there's a lot of things in our existence that we don't understand, and that we don't particularly need to understand. We'll speak on a private level about the exploration side of things. I wasn't really going to go have a long chat with you, Del, but I wanted to test the link because you asked us in the chat box just to test the link. But no, it's been a good chat as always.
Cheers, man.
All right, mate. You have a good day. I'll keep following the chat anyway, or I'll keep listening in on the chat.
I'll email you tomorrow, mate, and we'll organise.
No, there's no rush. As I said to you, the plan can be over the next year or so, where we pick a couple of dates, spend a week on this, and over the course of a year, spend 2 or 3 occasions, doing this, and it doesn't have to be disruptive to anyone's lives, and it can be we can achieve what we want to achieve without major disruption to anyone's lives. And I prefer to do it that way, because our lives can continue, but we can achieve our objectives at the same time. So cool. I think that's the best way to approach it. But we'll speak in private about that.
Nice one. Cheers, mate.
All right, bye. Have a good day.
Cheers. Take it easy, bud. It was Speed Freak that was just in there chatting. Sorry, I just realised I wasn't sharing the screen. The reason I wasn't sharing the screen is because I posted it publicly And obviously if they see the opportunity to jump in and porn bomb it, then there's going to be consequences to that. Push-pull, Norbert Russell. Hello Dale, regarding the push-pull argument, here I found a 4-minute video about how muscles work. Let me just open that. At about 1 minute 40 of the clip, they talk about how myosin filament fibres pull the actin fibres of the muscle fibres, but even the snazzy pictures in the video show everybody how to get their marbles straight, that it is push that moves the fibres. I've seen this before. It's like tube within a tube, and you've got a wee arm that will interlock the outer tube, and it will press against it to slide, and that's what you get, a contraction of the muscle. So I'll have a wee look at that. Very much appreciate your work and your words. Best regards, Angry Beaver Visual Arts. So let's have a wee look at this. Interestingly enough, for anybody who missed last night, once I was offline, well, once I stopped the broadcast, I ended the video that the guy Gem Panda had shared. Now, the rod that he was showing was it was a screw end at each end of the rod. So the bottom portion, it was screwed in, then the top portion came down it and screwed into the top. Exactly what I said was going to be the case. I thought maybe it was just a clamping mechanism with serrated teeth on it, but it's no. It was a machine screwed on each end of the rod. So it's screwed onto it so that when it's pushed apart, it can grip and force it in the upward direction and the downward direction, pushing it apart. So we're the same here in this. So let me just go, what did they say, 1 minute 40. Let me just give you a wee quick screen share here.
This woman is using muscles to breathe, circulate blood, and move her hand to take notes. Your cardiac and smooth skeletal muscles are composed of bundles of muscle fibers. Muscle fibers are long
By the way, these are all cartoons, but anyhow.
Cylindrical cells containing several nuclei. Muscles will contract or relax when they receive signals from the nervous system.
That's a metaphysical aspect, so we'll see all the mechanics until it comes to this portion here.
A neuromuscular junction is the site of the signal exchange. This is where the synaptic bulb of an axon terminal and muscle fiber connect. Muscle fibers are composed of many myofibrils. A myofibril contains contractile units called sarcomeres. Sarcomeres run adjacent to one another down the length of the myofibril. Each sarcomere consists of alternating thick and thin protein filaments, giving skeletal muscle its striated appearance. The muscle contracts when these filaments slide past each other.
Yeah, and this is where that you'll see again how they slide past each other.
The thick filaments are myosin, which are anchored at the center of the sarcomere, called the M line. The thin filaments are composed of the protein actin, which are anchored to the Z lines on the outer edges of the sarcomere. Because the actin filaments are anchored to the Z lines, the sarcomere shortens from both sides when actin filaments slide along the myosin filaments. Although the action between the filaments is described as
So here we go, you'll see exactly what I was talking about.
sliding, the myosin filament actually pulls the actin along its length.
It's no pulling, it's pushing it. You can see the mechanics of what was actually happening.
The cross bridges of the myosin filaments attach to the actin filaments and exert force on them to move.
Push.
This action is known as the sliding filament mechanism of muscle contraction. In this model, the sarcomeres shorten without the thick or thin filaments changing in length. A contraction begins when a bound ATP is hydrolyzed to ADP and...
So, that's enough. We've seen enough of it anyway. As I was saying, exactly, the exact same principles. It's everywhere. There's no way to escape that that's what your reality is. So... push wank. me see. Oh. Right. So we'll go for another. If I still get that open, actually. Right, there's no other requests anyway, people, so I think I'll just end it there and get a wee early night because I'm pretty tired. So I appreciate everybody coming on, you know, everybody in the chat, people watching. Hopefully there was something useful in it for you. Nods as always, much appreciated. I'll see everybody through the week, no doubt. So take care of yourselves, people. Bye bye.